Hello everyone, and welcome to the Captain Swan podcast number 83. I'm Serena, Savior out on Tumblr, and these are the people with me today.
Hi, I'm Lisa, and I'm you. You brought me home.
Hi, I'm Michelle, and I'm to the end of the world or time.
Hi, I'm Rance, and aloha forever.
Hi, I'm Ro, and I'm Ginny Jinx Rita and Handshot. Oh no, something. I'm something.
Okay, so we are gonna talk about a kind of controversial episode, and everyone will have a lot of opinions about this because finally, what we have been saying for I don't know weeks, months happened,
Yes.
and Robin died. You heard it here
Uh-oh.
first, or not? But we have been saying it for a long time. Like we said it for a long time when Neil was gonna die. Unfortunately, this time no one had to dress up as the Wicked Witch. That was a classic. So, let's start with the questions then, Michelle.
Okay, so we've got one question on snowing, so let's start with that. This anonymous wants to know, we had some really good Daddy Charming and Mama Snow stuff in this episode. What did you think?
Okay, let's start. Lisa, do you want to start?
Sure. I liked that they were there for her, but at the same time, I was a little irritated at the fact that they were constantly brushing aside her emotional state. Like they didn't seem to have the confidence that she could proceed the way they needed her to, because they thought she was too emotionally invested and too out of her head with grief over Hook, and they were like kind of telling her how to grieve, and they didn't seem to believe in her that she could approach the situation objectively. They kept trying to keep her out of it. I understand they wanted her to take a minute, and that's fine, but after everything that she's done with them all these years, I would like to think they would have had the confidence to know that she can handle it. She's one of those types of people that's very good at compartmentalizing things and bottling things up after like 10 years of walls. So I know that she can deal and then let it all out later. But they didn't seem to have the confidence in her. It's just irritating.
Okay, Michelle?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to punch Charming in the face. And usually I love Daddy Charming, but I agree with Lisa that it was the telling her how to grieve, and it got to the point where she had to scream at them to explain why she was doing what she was doing, rather than having them just ask her and actually like try to ask, how she was feeling, rather than just tell her. And I wish they would stop doing that.
Rams?
I felt the same. I think they were a little like they weren't very diplomatic. They should have. I feel like they could have been more understanding. But I did like some of the scenes, like Snow comforting Emma, and then saying it wasn't her fault and stuff like that. I really liked it. So I guess 50-50. That's what I would say.
Ro?
Yeah, I mean, some parts were good and some parts not so good. I think in the end they weren't exactly wrong because her sitting down and looking at those books actually did lead to something good.
Okay. I always feel like we never have enough Charmings, like Emma and Charmings, especially in season 5A. It was just ridiculous. And I guess it's been a little better in 5B, but if you compare how many scenes the Charmings have with Regina and how many they have with Emma, it's ridiculous that they have more and more meaningful ones with Regina. She's Emma's their daughter. I mean, Anyway,
It's almost like Regina's their daughter instead of Emma.
Yep.
it's exactly like that. I mean, this scene where Charming the shepherd taught Regina the Queen how to dance is still one of the most ridiculous things Adam and Hedy have ever come up with. Like,
Second only to when they were searching for Emma because she had disappeared, because she was freaking out about her magic, and apparently Snow thought it was more important to coddle Regina over her own personal issues with Robin. I'm like, your daughter is freaking out over the fact that she's losing her mind over the fact that she can't control her magic, and you think Regina's relationship woes are more important?
yeah, let's just take a stroll. Let's not hurry at all, because nothing important is going on. Anyway, let's go to the next question, Michelle.
Okay, these next three are about Arthur, so I might just read them all at once, and then we can talk. Anonymous wants to know, a question for the next podcast, what did you think of the Killian and Arthur scenes? And then another Anonymous wants to know, so what's the verdict? Do we like Arthur now? Both he and Lena went from 0 to hero in one episode. Which one did you think was more convincing? And then Shannon says, what did everyone think of the evolution of Arthur? Do you feel bad for him, or do you think he got what he deserved in the end? Were you surprised about Hades killing him so suddenly, and has Cruella found her new play toy?
Ro, do you want to start?
I think Arthur can do a lot better than Cruella. Also, I wasn't expecting the Arthur Killian alliance. I'm not calling it a bromance. But in the end, I'm glad it helped Killian get through what he needed to. And but also, it's good that Arthur is that kind of person who, when he hits rock bottom, actually comes to his senses finally. He's no longer deluded about it's either the good place or the bad place for him. So, yeah. Time to start acting like a person.
Rams?
I loved it. I just really think it was a brilliant idea to team Killian up with the person who actually was responsible for killing him in Camelot. That was an amazing way to show how far Killian himself has come, that he's not going after revenge anymore. I mean, it didn't even cross his radar. Plus, I also feel like it made me like Arthur's character better because he was really good as a villain, although towards the end he was a little ineffectual, I think. But I think this episode brought his arc to a really good conclusion. I love the fact that he found a purpose in being in the underworld, and he kind of pulled himself together. So I loved it.
Okay, Michelle?
See, I had a problem because I spent all of those scenes, I just kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. I kept waiting for Arthur to be shady. So I was like, why are you getting in this boat with him? He's going to dump you into the river. Do not trust this man. And I did that right up until the end. I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop, going, they're going to find some other way to screw Killian over. I feel it coming. It's going to happen. I'm happy to have been wrong about that. And I actually wound up, when I watched it again, I actually did wind up seeing what everybody else saw. Although, yeah, no to the stubble sandwich. Just stop, Cruella, please. But yeah, I'm glad that Arthur's found his purpose. Although I'm really kind of sad now that we're not going to get to see him, actually defeat Cruella and the Blind Witch and actually bring order to the underworld. That would have been a lot more interesting than what I think we're getting in the finale.
Lisa?
At first I was kind of confused as to why Hades killed him, because it didn't seem to me to serve any purpose for Arthur being down there. Okay, he annoyed you, he was getting in your way, net snap, he's dead. Maybe he thought Arthur might I don't know, do something to Killian to make sure he didn't. But at the time, Hades really wasn't under any illusions that Killian could affect what was going on. So I was still kind of confused as to what that whole purpose was.
No,
But
I know why he killed him. At least I think I do.
But I actually very much enjoyed their scenes together. I like Rams. I thought it was a stroke of brilliance to put the two of them together, even though this man was the one responsible ultimately for his death. They actually worked very well, and I think that if he hadn't died and had sort of found his way, that, you know, no offense to Charm, but I think that they could have been friends. But I think it just goes to show me there are some people that you can see go from zero to hero and just be like, oh, this is stupid. But with Arthur, it's easier because he wasn't like a built-in villain. He started out, if you saw it at the beginning of 5A, he was a good person. I mean, Arthur would not have chosen him. I mean, Merlin would not have chosen him, and Excalibur surely wouldn't have chosen him if he didn't at the outset have the heart of a hero. So I think
No, you hang on a minute. I need to tell you something real quick.
I think that he really did want to be a decent person. He wanted to lead that kingdom. He's the type of person that desperately needs to have a purpose. I think he was so caught up in sticking to that purpose that he forgot what he didn't see what was going on in front of him until it got away from him. I think that I almost wish that we didn't have to give up the underworld so we could see what he does down there and making it a better place, or at least a more a more acceptable place to move on from than what Hades left it as.
I don't exactly think that he's a good person, because I mean he's done some really terrible thing. I think he was really misguided. I don't think he would have done the things he did if Merlin hadn't really fucked up. So it's not completely his fault. But he's still not like innocent of everything. But other than that, I really liked it. Is I don't know if we can call it a redemption, but the start of his redemption. I thought it was a really good idea that the underworld was the broken kingdom that he was meant to save, and I hope he saves Mila.
I hope
Hopefully,
somebody does.
yeah, he needs to save Mila. That's all I care about. And yeah, the interaction between him and Hook was really good. Yeah.
You know what it actually kind of reminded me of? The cave in Harry Potter.
Hmm?
Well,
Oh,
when
right.
Dumbledore
Yeah. The Inferi.
Yeah, and then at the end, when Killian's in the white place, I'm expecting Dumbledore to show up or something.
Oh, God. Instead of Dumbledore, we get Zeus. But yeah, as for why Hades killed Arthur so quickly, remember, Hades is, even when they first got back, he once he knew that the heroes had followed them, he wanted to foment like fear and stuff. So if Arthur just suddenly like drops dead, that like puts everybody on alert, and he gives him a chance to convince Zelena that they need to defend themselves, which is exactly what happened. At least that's what I think.
Yeah, I agree. It was smart, and I guess the god of death doesn't need a reason to kill.
True.
Okay. Next question.
Okay, these next ones are about Robin. I'm not going to read them all at once because they're all slightly different. First one is Daniela. She wants to know what do you think of Robin's heroic sacrifice and Selena suddenly saving the day for the first time?
Okay. Who wants to start? Rams, are you here? Yes.
Yep, I'm here.
What do you think?
Well, that's a comprehensive question. Um, well, I think within the episode, I thought Selena was great, to be honest. I think it really worked because it came across how desperate she was for love, and that's how she was so easily fooled by Hades. But when she realized that Hades was not really in love with her, or maybe his love wasn't going to go far enough, and he was threatening to kill Regina, she came through. So I thought she had a great redeeming moment. As far as Robin goes, I have to say that I don't know, there was something off about that scene and the way it was acted or directed. It just felt kind of off to me. I felt really bad for him. He definitely did the heroic thing in saving Regina, but I think it was a poorly written scene. Plus, the directing or something was off, so it just didn't impact me that much, especially with how he died. Like, he was completely obliterated. I just feel like it was a poor death for this character. Yeah.
Okay, Michelle?
Yeah, I definitely have to agree that this is a very shitty end to Robin Hood. I'm like, really? You're gonna have him get shot with a crystal that looks like something else? I mean, I'm not gonna say what it looks like, but we all know what it looks like. I mean, seriously? I mean,
Talk
just
about
call it a
queer
thunderbolt
baiting.
for Pete's sake. Why couldn't they just call it a thunderbolt? Why are they calling it the Olympian crystal that looks like, oh my
They are
god.
queer baiting, Michelle.
It was just terrible. And and you know what was really Rams is right. The acting was weird because when after Robin gets hit with the thing and he turns around and faces Regina, like both of their faces
Oh,
were just like weird. I was just like, the man you love is like dying in front of your eyeballs, and that's your face? Really, Lana? That's your face? It's just and the fact that what infuriated me even more is the fact that they had Robin for the first time since the end of 4B actually tell Regina why he's pissed off, and that he feels and explaining why he feels like Selena can't be trusted, and that he's pissed at Regina for putting his daughter in this position where she's in the hands of the god of death. And then 2 seconds later, they get to the end of the passage, and he's taking it all back. And I'm like, really?
that was stupid.
Just so you can give Robin and Regina a moment right before he dies? Seriously, it would have been more powerful to me if he just stepped in front of her to save her, still being pissed off at her,
Mhm.
and he
Yeah, that's
saves her
right.
anyway.
I agree that I don't know if it was the directing or the acting. I don't know. I feel like Lana reacted really weird, like not upset enough. She was more upset when she found out that Snow had put a bird painting in her office. Then when Robin died, it was really it's like okay, they're in a crisis, but like react.
Mhm.
I don't know. And yeah, it was really incredibly shitty that they had him not just die but like be obliterated. And I don't know, it was probably because they wanted to drive the point home that he was like 100% dead, not in the underworld, is not going to come back, is not going to do anything of this like Hook. But it was really, I mean, I was not a fan, but I can guess that it was really upsetting for the fans.
Mhm.
Ro, what did you think?
It felt kind of rushed. I mean, I've seen better deaths on this show by a mile. I mean, I've seen deaths that are a lot more emotional, where there's actual dialogue, but this one just came like that, and there was no real time to process it for either of the characters. It just like happened. I would have liked if they'd made it a bit more meaningful, but I guess it is meaningful because in the end, Robin died to save the woman he kinda loves.
I mean, he died while trying to save a woman he loves, so Pistachio or Robin Jr. or whatever we are calling her. He died trying to save her, so yeah, in a sense.
He
Ram.
died trying to save Regina, not Pistachio, though, right?
Yeah, but he
Yeah.
was there. He was there because of Pistachio. Robin Jr. We can we can call her Snowflake or Graham like we do with not Neil.
Yep.
So I'm sad that we don't have a good nickname. But you know what? Babies bring death in this show. Every time a baby is born, you know that a grown man has to die to give the baby his name.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
just stop procreating. We
Hashtag.
should
Whoa, let's not go that far.
hashtag use a
They can
condom.
practice procreating. I'm okay with practicing. Just don't actually procreate.
Yeah, we should have a poll. Which grown man should Captain Swan's baby be named after?
I swear
Don't
to
say
God,
Liam. Don't
I
say
swear to
Liam.
God, if like Rumple, if they
Oh,
somehow by
God.
the
Oh
grace
my
of God,
God! We
no,
should.
if they somehow by some miracle manage to destroy him, and then Belle gives birth to a boy, and she decides to name him Rumple after his dearly departed daddy, I'm gonna be like, no,
No, no, no, no,
no,
no.
no.
What if Rumpel dies like saving people like in a last shot redemption moment and Captain Swan decide to call their son
No.
their
Yep, not
daughter
in a million years.
Rumpelstiltskin?
Not in a million years. Killian would never allow it.
Tilly would never allow that.
But as for Robin, personally, I was like Outlaw Queen neutral. I didn't care either way because it never really appealed to me. It was just kind of there. But I genuinely liked Robin as a character. I felt bad for the Outlaw Queen shippers and the hoodies that he was gone because Sean is a sweetheart, and I just, especially after that interview came out after the fact that he was disappointed, that he felt like there was so much more that they could have given to this character that they could have expanded upon, and they never did. It was like Michael Soka all over again. They have all these extraneous characters, but they don't know what to do with them. All they did was either have him hidden taking care of his children or doing something else, or chewing background without like really contributing. They promised him all these things, and he moved his whole family out there, and now this is it really does suck. If there was ever a death that was stupid shock value and unnecessary, it was this one. I mean, and I do also agree that the pacing seemed rather off. It was like, okay, first we have the scene where they're talking in the tunnels, and when you have a character that's making those last minute, either declarations or apologies, you always know something bad's gonna happen. Somebody's dying. I was so like, oh my God, he's finally standing up for himself and saying something that he should have said like forever ago. And then 2 seconds later, I don't think he was necessarily backtracking on it. I just think that he realized that, if he managed to be able to give Regina a second chance after what he knew she had been, that, it would have been kind of wrong for him not to at least attempt to do the same for her sister.
But Regina hadn't done those things to him. Regina had done those things to other people. Zelina actually violated him. I mean,
would have been
could Regina at least attempt to understand why he's upset and give him the benefit of the doubt? But no.
That's what I'm saying. And that when he finally asserted himself in that scene, I wish that she would have said, oh, that she would have agreed that I probably was not seeing this from your point of view, But she never she just looked all huffy, like, why is he being mean to me? Wah wah wah. She wasn't understanding what was. The other thing that I thought was weird was when they obliterated him and all that was left was his soul as it was leaving. The look on Sean's face, I don't know if the camera was attempting to do a really weird fisheye or something, but just the way that they shot his face just threw the whole scene off. And I wasn't so upset about her reaction. I think she was in a state of shock, and it didn't quite hit her until Hades was a pile of dust. But then again, you have to understand that Regina and Zazleen are two very different people. Like, Regina is that silent griever. She doesn't do the tear thing or the sobbing, crying thing. She does the stewing, pissed off anger thing. That's how she deals. Whereas Zelena, as soon as she killed Hades, she was a sobbing mess on the floor, even though it strains incredulity to believe that what they had was actually true love, considering what he ultimately was trying to do. Whatever he thought love was, it was extremely toxic.
Okay, but here's the thing. Regina had more of a visceral reaction when Daniel was murdered in front of her than she did when Robin was murdered in front of her.
Well, that's because she had not had that anger in her life before, and she was very young then. When you lose someone who you think is your be-all, end-all, first love, true love, whatever, yeah, of course, she was what then, 18, 19 years old? About. So, yeah, she was probably a much more emotional person then. But you could tell not long after that, when her mother was dressing her up to meet Leopold for the first time, you could see the emotion drop from her face. And the walls just go up.
Someone else? Sorry.
And she stopped being an emotional person after that. And she just started stockpiling anger and bitterness and hate.
Someone else have an opinion on this? Rubbing his hand.
Yeah, I think it was the way the scene was shot. I'm sure they had to film Robin doing the same scene twice. Mm-hmm. So I think maybe there was some kind of misalignment, because he didn't even seem to be looking at Regina, the soul Robin, I mean.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think there was some bad editing at the very least. So.
And Regina reaches out for him, and their hands don't touch.
That was like really
they were trying
bad.
to, and I was like, yeah, that's not good. Someone misaligned something.
Yep.
Anyway, from what you guys said before about Sean's interviews, about how disappointed he was and he thought that there could be more to the character, I don't know if I said it before, but what I've always thought is that Robin's big problem is that he was Regina's love interest. That was his problem, because first of all, he was just introduced to be her love interest. Mm-hmm. If you look at Belle, she has the same problem, because she was just introduced to be Rumpel's love interest, not to have a relationship of his own, of her own or his own, with other character. And unlike Hook, who was introduced with his own storyline, and part of his storyline was that he was Emma's love interest, but he was also many other things. And more specifically about Regina, he was her love interest, and he was never ever allowed to call her out or point out or have opinions of his own that weren't hers, or point out her faults. One of the first things he said was the infamous bold and audacious thing, which is not something that someone with brains says to a mass murderer. Like, oh, I've heard you wear bald foundations. Like, why? Don't say those things. And he was never allowed to act like Robin Hood, to have doubts about, falling in love with a queen, with a rich queen, when he's Robin Hood. They never explored those parts that should have been his personality.
And they kept
Because,
promising us that he did some terrible dark thing, and then they never told us what it was. I mean, that would have been the thing that could make him relate to Regina, and we could understand why he loves her despite the whole rich thing, but they never told us what it was.
yeah, because it was just there to be like, oh, you see, he's also bad. He can judge Regina, but they were never interested in what he was. They were just interested in him having something bad in his past, so he was at the same level. And no one ever believed that he could have been at the same level. So yeah, it was just a mess.
The
Some
problem
moments,
is
yeah.
that these characters are brought in and they have so much potential, but they end up being completely wasted.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's true. So few character, because then when they explore them, we complain that they explore them too much, like Merida. They should find a better middle ground. I feel like Arthur was a nice middle ground. He wasn't explored too much, but we got to know him fairly well. I think we knew Arthur better than Robin actually.
Or
Mm-hmm.
Merlin.
Yeah.
Merlin.
Okay. Shall we go to the next question?
Sure. Anonymous says, still pissed about how they treated Robin's death. He deserved at least his very own eccentric episode before they killed him off. Anyway, I'm of the mind that his demise came at the request of ABC for financial reasons. Way too many main cast for a show that is averaging a 1.2 rating. What do you think happened?
What do you guys do you think it was ABC? Does someone think it was ABC?
I think it's possible because that's around the time the big shakeup happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in an interview, Sean mentioned that he had already found out by the 100th party, but
He
not
found out in
before that,
January.
around January. I think that was around the same time that the shakeup was happening. Plus, ABC, oh, I mean, once also found out they were being renewed early. So I have a feeling that they must, Shannon Dungy, I forget how to pronounce her name properly, but
Yeah.
she might have spoken to Adam and Eddie and said, well, you have too many series regulars, you need to cut down, there are big cuts happening. So, and
Yeah.
they love Rebecca Matter more than Sean, to be honest. Adam and
She's more
Eddie, so,
entertaining, to be honest. I
right.
think.
Yeah, I mean,
True.
it's both. They like writing for Zelina, plus I think they really like the actress too. So I think they may have decided to cut Robin at that point.
Yeah, I can see budget cuts coming that ABC going, we'll give you season 6, but we have to cut your budget, and Robin was just the sacrificial
Mhm.
lamb
Mhm.
to
I
get
feel
season 6.
I feel though like it's not like Sean's salary was that high. I mean, it's if they had really wanted him to stay, they would have said, okay, we're gonna have one less CGI magic battle, and we are keeping Robin. Because I mean, the other weird thing is I don't know how Sean's contract works. Like, does he get paid for every episode in the
Mm-hmm.
season since he's a season regular,
Yes,
or
yes, he
Mhm.
just
does. That's how those things work.
and
Mhm.
then you mean to tell me that he didn't appear for a couple of episodes during the arc, the Underworld arc, but he was still getting paid for them. That's
Yep.
that's that's
Yeah, because
ridiculous.
that's what happened to Michael Soka. He was there. He had to stay in Vancouver to be a series regular, but he was only in like a fraction of the episodes, but he had to be there. he was getting paid.
Yeah, I mean, if I was Channing or an executive of ABC, I would be pissed that I had to pay the salary of Sean and Michael when they weren't even being used.
Actually,
Exactly.
they don't all get paid the same amount of money. If you look at it,
Well,
you know
no, but
what?
we're saying they still get paid for every
When
episode
the
that they're in.
press releases come out and they have the listing of the cast members, I think the first one that's always there is either Lana or Ginny. But anyway,
It's Ginny.
they get paid. The amount of money that they get paid depends on where they fall in that cast list. So the higher up you are, the more money you get.
No, it doesn't
Sean,
because
They're not there.
because Rumple's last because Robert Carlyle's always last and he probably I guarantee you he gets paid more than Colin does.
Yeah, because yes, they and Robert Carlyle,
Yeah.
which I think Robert and Ginny are getting paid the most, and then Jen probably.
Yeah.
And Lana, Josh, and Colin last.
I know that Adam and Eddie
But I
and
think,
Lana and all of them
but
have
I think these are different issues, though. We're not talking about the comparative salary. We're talking about whether the actors get paid regardless of appearance per episode. I think if you're a series regular, you do get paid even though you're
Yeah,
not in an
if
episode.
you're a guest star or whatever, like Colin was in the first half of season 2, you get paid only in the episodes that you're in, and then once you become an actual regular, you get paid regardless. I know that Lana and Adam and Eddie and even Sean and all them said that we serve whatever the writers write. It's their storyline, and they were trying to do it to, I guess, um, throw some more drama at Regina and more character growth. But it's like, look, we've already seen what happens to her when she loses or when something doesn't go her way. So why throw more of this at her when it's almost at this point expected for her to react? And if you're trying to, are you really doing this just to show that even though she loses someone that she loves, she's not going to revert back to Evil Queen? Is that really what you're? Because that seems like such a cop out of an excuse for literally not just killing a character but obliterating him. So
I
that means
know.
that he can't ever come back, and literally the only time you would ever be able to see him is maybe in flashbacks if they decided to go that route. But
But
apart,
what flashbacks would he be relevant in? I mean, Robin is so disconnected from the story at large that I can't
It
even think of a
wasn't.
flashback he would be in. But
It,
I
to
just
the
feel like
point
it's an
about
excuse for
Regina,
something else, like what you were saying about them having to cut costs because of going into season 6 but not getting the same budget. I feel like it's more about that. It makes more sense.
because and especially with Regina, I mean, they could have done this. Regina confronts her evil queenness in the underworld. I mean, she murdered thousands of people. They could have had her confront any of those people, but instead it was just her family. And then they come out in an interview and say, well, we thought it was more interesting for her to be confronted by her loved ones rather than random villager 523. And I'm like, no, it's the other way around, dumbass.
yeah.
Like,
I
random
think I
villager
have.
who's never forgiven her is way more interesting than her family who's going to forgive her.
Rams?
Yeah, well, I think maybe that was also changed when they realized they were getting another season. So the initial plan may have been for Regina to confront some of her victims in the underworld because that's what Dark Hook said in what was that episode, Swan Song?
Yeah.
Didn't he tell Regina that you should be afraid of going to the underworld? So maybe that the fact that they were renewed changed some of their plans when they decided to, you know, from knowing the spoilers, what's going to happen in season 6. It's possible that some of their plans changed.
Yeah.
The
I agree.
blind witch was technically one of our victims.
Yeah. She
Yeah, but
was
all she did was snark at her. They didn't have like a magic off or anything.
Anyway, let's go to the next question then.
Anonymous says, writing for Last Rites could have been better. If what Lana has been saying is true and that they'll be exploring karmic retribution for Regina's sins in the upcoming episodes, then they at least should have tied this episode back to the price where Regina was let off scot-free for Robin's life instead of paying the debt that was owed. Thoughts?
I personally agree. I think they should have tied it to episode 2. It would have been, smart. They could have been like, "Oh, look at us! We are foreshadowing. We are geniuses." But they didn't because they aren't. So I don't know. I feel like they all the time they have these opportunities, but they never take them. What do you guys think, Michelle?
I agree. I think that it would have been, continuity-wise, would have made so much more sense to tie it into not paying the price with the Furies than what actually happened. But like you, they're not that smart.
Yeah.
Uh,
Ro?
Yeah, it would have made more sense because how did that all go about? I mean, it was one of Regina's previous victims who tried to avenge his village, his family, and she could have actually learned something from that because that's how Robin almost died and how he was almost taken away by the Fury. But nope, nope, forget it. Percival was a villain because he wanted justice.
Yeah. Rams?
I definitely think it would have made more sense for them to tie it up with episode 5 too. But maybe they don't want to do it because they kind of wanted to play off the whole Robin is dead but Hook is alive angle. Could
Yeah,
it be that? Because if they tie it back to the Fury, then they can't have even like tangential blame falling on Emma, but now Regina can conveniently forget that Emma saved Robin's life in Camelot, and they actually never paid the price for it because when the Fury came to claim his life, they all held hands and basically made the Fury disappear. So nobody actually paid the price for Robin's life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So if they had brought that back, that would have like reduced the impact of saying, "Oh, Emma got her boyfriend back for free, but Robin unfairly died." Blah blah blah. I think that was part of the reason.
Okay, Elisa?
Um, yeah, I do have to agree because this show has a bad habit of throwing out, like opening plot lines but not closing them. Like they'll start a plot line and then they'll leave it dangling and there'll be no closure to it. Like what they did with Will back in season 4. We had to assume that something happened to Anna for him to be acting the way he was acting, but it was never addressed. There was never any answers to those questions, and it just disappeared. It's not the first time that they've done this with storylines. I think it's true. It would have had a lot more impact because they all worked together to save his life in episode 2 from the Furies, but we also know that based on now seeing Hades and how he runs things in the underworld, that he doesn't cotton well to his, I guess you could say, people throwing a gum in the way that his operation works. That's why he was pissed off at the outset for Killian bringing hope to these people, for them coming down there trying to rescue him and allowing people to move on. So why the hell would he be happy about not getting Robin's soul when he was supposed to have it in the first place? It would have made more sense for him to take that because he felt that he was owed. It it it's what Hades does instead of Robin doing that to save her life, which I mean, it just yeah. I think it would have been it would have been a closure to that dangling plot thread, and it just would have made more sense, and it would have had more impact because you're right, she didn't pay the price. The only one who really paid any sort of price for that was Emma, for being tossed further down into that rabbit hole of darkness where she did not want to go. But Regina never really paid the price for it, and it would have made much more sense. It had a lot more emotional impact. Unfortunately, they again left that plot line left that thread hanging and tied it up in a different way, and it didn't translate well.
Okay, let's go to the next question. Is it still about Robin?
Yes, we've
Okay.
got two more about Robin.
Okay.
Although this is sort of more about Lana than Robin, but anyway.
Okay.
Anonymous says Sean McGuire is one of the funniest, most engaging actors on the show, and I will be forever bitter that M.A. didn't even think to channel his natural charm into his character. What a waste of what could have been a great character. My question is, do you think Lana intentionally disregarded OQ because she didn't talk about them as much as she seemed to promote SQ, and do you think that she would have been more supportive of her companionship had it had the build-up that CS had?
Lana wishes her ship was like Captain Swan. I mean, I think even she realizes how badly Outlaw Queen was built.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she really cared for it. I mean, she was friends with Sean, and she liked having scenes with him, but she had to realize that Captain Swan was better written and more popular, and that's one of the reasons she's always so for Swan Queen, because it's popular. What do you guys think, Ro?
Swan Queen is popular. Ugh.
with a vocal few.
Alana just strikes me as a people pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. Does someone have an opinion on this?
Yes, that she basically will say anything that will get her attention, and SQ gets her attention. So whether she's talking about them as friends or subtly queer baiting or whatever she's doing, OQ gets her applause at cons and gets her autographs and pictures. So that's what she talks about. And it doesn't help that media people like Natalie Abrams encourage her nonsense.
Did you guys read that apparently, according to Lana, Emma is her best friend?
Oh my god, yes.
Oh.
You know what the sad thing is? What the sad thing is that I think she really believes what she's saying. Like she
No, I
doesn't.
don't think so.
Like she doesn't realize how that translates to the context of the show. She might see that from one side that Emma is being a good friend to Regina, but Regina sure as hell isn't being a good friend to Emma. That's for sure. But yeah, I think Lana kind of, I don't want to say panders because that's a kind of a bad way. That's a bad way to think of it. But she depending on where she goes, she'll mention the Outlaw Queen thing to get the applause from those fans. And if she goes somewhere that's heavy with the Swan Queen people, then she talks about that. It's because she's trying to keep the fans involved by playing to what they love most. I mean, and you can't say that she's the only one that does it because, I mean, at Comic-Con, the thing that Colin and Jen talk about most is what else? Captain Swan. And that's not bad because it's a canon couple, and of course they have every right to. But I mean, of course you're going to talk about the thing that's the most popular with the fan base. It's just the only problem is with Lana is that she gives them hope where there is none. And then they come back and they get pissy and bitchy because they feel like she's saying that some things are going to happen, but they don't happen. That's not what she. That's why I wish that she just wouldn't. I wish that she just would not, because she doesn't always monitor what's coming out of her mouth. She says things that she shouldn't say.
I think Lana knows perfectly well that Emma and Regina are not best friends. She knows it because anyone who watches the show and is sane, which I think Lana is, knows it. She just says it because to relap the Swan Queen shippers, but I think she does it. She knows what she's doing. I don't think she's dumb. She's not dumb, but she knows what she's doing. Michelle, what do you think?
Oh, I think Rose is exactly right. She's people pleaser.
Ramps?
Well, you mean she asked for romance and it didn't really work out the way she wanted it to, so she's going for something, I guess. I can't really blame her 100% because she needs to talk about something and they haven't really given Outlaw Queen any meaty scenes in 2 seasons now, other than the baby plot and crap like that.
Oh
So
God.
I can blame her for not really promoting it, Outlaw Queen, because there's nothing there to promote, you know. And maybe
She's
she now hopes that they might give her a good romance plotline in season 6. Who knows? Yeah.
Hmm.
she's had more of an arc with Zelina
Oh
this
yeah,
season.
definitely.
Hmm.
Yeah, Regina and Zelina is the most important Regina ship of the season. If I had to say who Regina's best friend actually was, I would say Snow, but second place would be Zelina. Emma would be like a distant third, or maybe fourth after her dance instructor Charming.
Yeah, see, this is why I get okay. This is why I get kind of irritated with when people get mad at the fact that she seems so supportive of Zelena at the detriment of everybody else. I know that I know that it's not right for her to throw all of her chips towards this one person who has just only recently and barely demonstrated that she's trying to turn a corner. I get it, but you have to see it from Regina's perspective. She's grown up never really knowing love for her entire life except for maybe her father, who was so browbeat by her mother that, she was very, very affection starved. You saw that in the flashback uh, when she was wanting to have time with her mother, but her mother was always doing other things. And it wasn't till Zelena showed up, even though she didn't know who she was, she finally had some happiness, and then the happiness was taken away from her when her mother sent her back to Oz. So, of course, it's natural that she'd want to cling on to this first semblance of real family that she's ever, I mean, not like family, blood family that she's ever had. Because, she wants to be happy, and I can't fault her for that, even though I wish that she would see things from other people's perspectives, not just Lena's. She doesn't see the whole picture. I know she wants to give Zelena the benefit of the doubt, but she's forgetting about the effect that Zelena's had on everybody else. She needs to at least understand that since Selena's been there, that it's been one thing after another, and especially what she did to Robin. I mean, but I'm willing to give Zelena about an inch of a benefit of the doubt right now. I'm not going to assume that I won't assume that it will last until I see more, but I will give her a slight benefit of the doubt to see where it goes. And that's about it.
What are we talking about, though? I'm confused. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be mean, but what are we talking about? How Regina seems to favor Zelina over Robin? Is that?
Yeah, I think the original question was about Lana. And
Yes,
we
yes, it
went a bit
was.
off topic, so maybe we can go to the next one and get back on topic.
Okay, this one is for Ro.
This was
Oh.
my favorite question that we've ever gotten, I think.
Yes. So Anonymous wants to know, for Ro, out of these three characters that died, who would you rather have come back, Neil, Walsh, or Robin? And can you please answer in your Australian accent? Do you even have an Australian accent, Ro?
Sometimes.
Well, this one would like you to give it a try.
I think you have a fan.
Bloody hell. Okay, well, to be honest, Neil seemed perfectly happy where he was, so I think he should stay there. And Walsh, no friggin' way. So if it makes Regina shut up, I would definitely want Robin back.
That was awesome.
This is
That
the
was
best thing ever.
You should talk like this all the time, Ro.
Okay. So since it was only for Ro, no one else gets to answer. And we
I
go to
can't
the
speak
next
with an
question.
Australian accent anyway. So.
Okay, so this next bet is on Captain Swan, finally. And this first one's a bit of a rant from Stacy, but I will read it. Not to be shady, but does anyone find it peculiar that the flashback episodes for Emma and Hook in 5B were overshadowed by the C-B plots, but filler whoa. But the filler... What does this say? Punctuation is important, everyone. But filler episodes in the... Oh, that those plots are less in focus about why... What? are apparently less important than the main character and her romantic partner. There we go. And I decided to use some writing, reading, and story terms when I watch you guys. Are you playing bingo, Stacy? Is that what's happening? You guys can use them if you like. So unnecessary retcon of the evil queen plotting to kill Snow, story cliche. Magical object, Duez Machina. Rumble is an asshole cliche. Recycled Rumbell plot. Annoying side character / villain filler story. Mills Stillskins fucking everybody over foreshadowing. And scene does not contain Captain Swan doing anything, so we skip. Also, R.I.P. Robin Hood. He deserved better, and I hope he and Marion are reunited, which won't happen because he got obliterated.
Okay, I did not understand all of it, but
I didn't either.
I agree about Robin and Marian getting reunited, I guess. Did someone understand and want to give their opinion?
I think she's irritated with the fact that this 5B story was supposed to be centered around saving Hook, and it turned out to be a 11-episode mess about Regina and Zelina and their issues, and helping some people cross over, and like Emma and Hook really didn't get hardly anything. And again, I think that's all on the fault of trying to of these 11-episode blocks where they have to fit everything into the 11 episodes. I was just reading a meta earlier today, and every point just made sense about how you get like the first 4 episodes are really driven towards the plot, they're really good, and then from like episode 5 or 6 on to like maybe, I don't know, episode 19 or 20, it's a snore fest because it's either filler or they focus on somebody else's B plot that nobody gives a shit about because they have to like stretch it out so they can get to the end, and then the last 3 episodes they're shoving all the plot in all at once in a really fast pace because they don't have a lot of time left. Unfortunately, them's the breaks when you're stuck with these 11-episode blocks. I really wish that they would just have one whole storyline from the start of the season to the end, but you know, I'm not the one that's in charge of the production.
Mm-hmm. Okay, does someone else want to add something?
No.
No.
Okay.
But we should definitely use those categories for a bingo card. That's what I think.
Okay.
Or a drinking game. Drinking game.
We don't want people to get drunk in our 1.5 hour episodes.
They'll
We
get
say all those
alcohol
things.
poisoning.
Exactly.
We should have a drinking game podcast. You can drink Joyce. So anyway, let's go to the next question.
Okay, this was from Daniela, and since she's not here, and what are your thoughts on the CS reunion, Hooks coming back to life, and CS finally having, well, it wasn't True Love's kiss, she says it was, but it wasn't. Under the Rain, Notebook style, I died of good feels on the floor and almost cried.
Aw.
So what did we think of the reunion, guys?
Woo!
Yeah, let's talk about Captain Swan in this Captain Swan podcast finally.
Yes.
Ro, what do you think of the reunion?
Oh boy, it was so good. I mean, like just the emotion, like they both showed at seeing each other, and just how happy they were, and the kissing, and it just came. Killian was just as surprised as Emma. He was like, "Well, Zeus. Wait, who's that blonde person? Oh, Emma, Swan. Oh my God, I'm back."
Okay, Rams?
It was the sweetest, most beautiful thing ever. Oh my god, I was a part of the fields and I rewatched the scene over and over and over again. I don't think I can say anything more coherent.
Michelle?
Oh my God, it was I don't want to say it makes up for the nonsense, because I need to see the finale to know if the whole thing makes up for the nonsense, but it was so freaking satisfying. I was like, they are both so, and I got my magic burst, I got my magic whoosh, I was happy. And then she doesn't even question that it's really him. She just runs right into his arms, and she's kissing his face, and he's giggling for Pete's sake. And he's trying to explain what he thinks happened, and she doesn't care, and they're just happy. And she cuts him off, and she's like, "Screw this! I just need to kiss you some more." And it was just the best thing ever.
Lisa?
It really goes to show how amazing Colin and Jen are as scene partners. That the scenes they film where they're being ripped apart are just as emotionally gripping as the ones that they film where they're being brought back together. You can't. There's like no single negative thing you can possibly say. And for the future, whoever directs their scenes, whatever scenes that they might be in, yes, I know that they have to have lines and they have to stick to a script, but let them improvise as much as possible, please. Because it turns out fucking amazing whenever they do. Every time that they decide to throw their own little things, like, I mean, I think we're pretty sure that her kissing him on the cheeks was Jen doing her own little addition to the scene, because Colin sort of broke character a little bit with that laugh, because I don't think he was expecting it. But it's a credit to them and how well they work together and how well they know each other, that they can just roll with it and make it even better than it was. The whole scene from beginning to end was perfect. I mean, I know that it seemed too easy to some people that he just got this free pass, but I mean, it wasn't a free pass. This man has endured so much suffering. He's not once, not twice, but 3 times. And then he risks his own ability to cross over to make sure that she defeated Hades for good. He did things that he didn't have to do. He could have just crossed over and let it be, but he didn't. The man has earned it, and anybody that says that he hasn't can go take a long walk off a short pier. Because
Yes.
seriously, he's earned it more than.
I like to think of it as Zeus just making things right because they passed the test. But it's not their fault they got in there and the tree was cut down. He would have been able to come home had the tree not gotten cut down by his evil brother. So he was just, fixing the thing that Hades broke and saying, "Hey, you can go on."
I mean, even though we had the spoiler pictures, even though we knew he wasn't going to die, that he was going to come back, the scene was still so good that we still managed to feel all those emotions and the amazement of seeing him there and the intensity of the kiss and the gratefulness that he was alive and the happiness and that joy. It didn't matter that we knew that it was coming. We could still feel it because Jen and Colin acted so well. I've never been so thankful for two actors in a show in my entire life because I don't want to be mean to the other actors, but I feel like in a lot of ways they carry this show. They really do.
Does someone else have anything to add?
How many
Okay.
times did you watch it? Ballpark.
I don't know,
30?
10?
I just gotta say, after all the people that Emma has lost, she was owed this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, do we have other questions?
Yes, we do. Anonymous wants to know, question for the next podcast, are you guys worried at all that maybe Colin might quit the show now that Sean is gone? I know it's probably not likely, but what do you guys think?
No.
No.
Friendship goes far, but not that far.
I mean, no one does that. If you have a good job that you like with good employers and you are making a lot of money and this is the first time in your adult life that you actually are making money for your chosen job, you don't quit it just because they fire a friend. I mean, unless they're just awful people that they fired your friend because, I don't know, because they're racist or something like that. You don't just quit in solidarity for something like that. I mean, I've never heard anything. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be stupid. No, Colin's not going anywhere.
Yeah. We may look at these people as celebrities, but they are also working people who are blessed to get these kind of jobs, because acting is not a very secure profession.
Yeah, I mean,
Not only
it's
that, but Sean himself said he's been in this business for a long time, like 18 years. He knows how to play the game, knows how it works. And I am sure that as good of an actor as Sean is, he will bounce back on his feet. He'll be fine. It might be some tough going at first to get jobs, but even though he didn't have a large role in the show, Once Upon a Time is a very widely known show. So being associated with that in any way, shape, or form is good for his CV. It will get him in a lot of doors. I have no doubts that he will easily find work. As for Colin, Colin would be a fucking fool to leave this job. Not only is he the most popular character on the show by far, it's practically his meal ticket. I mean, it makes him a lot of money. I get that Sean is his friend and he doesn't want to lose a friend, but he's not going to lose a friend. They already said that they're going to be friends for the rest of their lives. Just because they don't live next door to each other doesn't mean that they're not going to be friends anymore. And it like what Ro was saying, outside of their characters are also people who need to work, and beyond friendships, that has to come first. He has a family that he has to support. I don't know if Helen's gone back to work or not, but the fact is that this money is what keeps their family going. So he's not going to risk that by quitting. Yes, he's done other films, but they don't pay. They're small independent movies. They don't pay nearly as much as what he's getting on Once Upon a Time. He wouldn't risk that.
Yeah, definitely. If does someone want to add something? No? Okay, let's go to the next question then.
We're now in the spoiler section, everyone. Just FYI.
Mhm.
This first one's from Daniela. She wants to know if we think that the season finale will have a CS payoff like Sexy Times at a wedding proposal, because at this point, I think it will be super fucked up to wait until season 6, and as a CSer, it's driving me insane, and I'm this close to losing my shit big time. Well, we know there won't be a proposal, because Eddie already said.
Yeah, I think the most payoff we can hope for is them officially deciding to move in together.
That's
Well,
not
Um,
much of a payoff because it's already been
Yeah.
established.
Well, that
Mhm.
plays into this next question from Hooked on Killian for Life 28. This says, so what are your theories on what the lift kiss between Killian and Emma will be about, since it seems we're not getting a proposal? And yeah, I think it's probably Emma just saying, hey, we can move your stuff into the house now, since that's about all the expectations I got at this point.
mhm. Yeah.
I'm not holding my breath.
I swear to God, if it turns out, I mean, I know we all loved the Captain Swan movie. We loved the scene where they finally kissed when they were talking outside of Granny's. You know, they had a whole montage over the music of snowing and A La Queen and Rumble and Captain Swan kissing. There wasn't any dialogue. It was just them kissing. I don't want it to turn into that. Not that I don't love seeing them kiss, because I surely do. But there's a lot of things that have been left unsaid between them that need to be said. And after everything that they've been through, the literal hell that they've been through, I do not understand how Adam and Eddie could finish off the season without giving us something. Not necessarily us fandom, but giving them something outside of an already established plot point that we already knew about that really has no emotional impact because they've already discussed it.
Especially given the fact that we know from the sneak peeks that they're not getting a break. Like, there's no them going home to, like, collect themselves between the cemetery and whatever's going on with Rumple and the damn crystal, because we have that sneak peek of everybody, you know, first in the diner, and then thing goes off, and then they're probably going right to the clock tower right after that. So it's like, there's no time to breathe again, and so if we're not getting that moment, you know, where they get to breathe, you know, right after he gets resurrected, and we don't get it after they get separated and then they're back in town, what the hell, people?
Thanks, Rumple.
Jerk.
Douche.
Which could be the subtitle of once. Thanks, Rampo. Okay, let's go to the next question.
Okay, this one's about Regina, and it's from Daniela. I know you guys aren't fans of Regina as a hero and the evil queen, like Serena especially, because I know she still doesn't like Regina. But seriously, you guys think Regina will embrace being a true hero and embrace light in her heart, or be the most evilest evil queen in the season 5 finale and into season 6? I hope not, because I love hero queen Regina Mills to death.
Okay, to defend myself, I haven't bitched about Regina in a long, long time. Like since the 5B premiere, I think. And granted, that was mostly because I was out getting my wisdom teeth out for very many podcasts, but I haven't bitched about her for a long time.
Well,
Anyway,
to be fair, they haven't given us much to bitch about her for until now.
yeah,
Like, she was
that was
actually
it.
okay in 5B.
Yeah, that was what I meant. She's been decent in 5B, and even in 5A, she was annoying when she was controlling Emma, but she was better than in season 4. Like she was really really the worst in season 4, and I'm feeling like season 6 is gonna be a redux of season 4 because the Regina versus Emma premise is kind of the same. So I feel she will have many, many opportunities to be again the worst. Anyway, yeah, she hasn't done anything yet. If we don't count the sneak peeks. If we count the sneak peeks, I've already said "Shut up, Regina" like 1,000 times. I feel there are already like 50 GIF sets on Tumblr explaining why she's an hypocrite. With her whole, oh, how dare you tell me to calm down, to not get involved, when it's the exact same thing she told Emma in this episode. So yeah, I think she's gonna be really, really insufferable in this next episode. But I haven't seen it yet. Maybe I love her. I don't think so, though. I don't think so.
Honestly, what pissed me off the most about the sneak peeks was one, when she threatened to rip Hook's, like saying that she had thought about ripping Hook's throat out because he was alive and Robin was dead, and then the reaction on Emma's face. Like, I really wish that Emma would have stood up and been like, "You touch him, I will end you." You know, I care about you. I understand where you're coming from. You lost Robin. You're grieving. I get it. But you touch Killian, I'm going to hurt you. I just wish, instead of taking more and more of Regina's crap, that she would stand up for herself. But that's one of the things that they always have to do with her. Every time she's pissed off about some shit, they got to walk on eggshells around her, because God forbid somebody should piss her to fuck off and she starts throwing fucking fireballs because she can't stop being evil queen. And then worse yet was when she totally undermined what Emma went through as the Dark One, saying that, oh, that ain't nothing compared to me constantly having to fight off my own internal darkness, being, the evil queen. I'm like, are you serious right now? This woman had to take on the darkest dark that ever was.
To save Regina.
To save your fucking ass. And then she had to fight with everything in her not to let it consume her. Even after you forced her to pretty much give into it to save your boyfriend's life, she still had to fight it because she didn't want to hurt anyone, and you're going to act like that was nothing? Oh, you need to shut the hell up. No.
Okay. Someone else want to add their opinion on Regina?
I think that this episode, that this two-part finale is going to be 4B, what 4B was for Emma in microcosm. In 4B, Emma had there was this whole, turn to save your dark, blah, 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 but Emma ultimately turned against it, but then had to take on the darkness, the darkest darkness over dark with the dagger at the end. So this time, I think Regina's gonna, she's gonna be mad. She's gonna, flirt with being the evil queen. Rumple's gonna try and manipulate her, yada yada yada. She will ultimately turn against it and try to channel her negative emotions about Robin into actually doing something useful, like bringing her family back from the crazy dimension they wound up in. And then they're going to get back to Storybrooke, and something is going to happen to her, something to do with the new people, and that's what's going to ultimately bring back the evil queen.
Yeah, I think Hyde is likely going to expose her to something.
Rams, what do you think?
I agree. I'm just really worried that it's going to be a season 4 Redux where everybody runs around coddling Regina and trying to get her a happy ending. I mean, I don't want to be too negative, and we haven't even seen the finale yet, but I'm definitely think it's going to be played as not Regina's fault, so that we will have the evil queen, but people won't ultimately blame Regina for it because it happened through some other magical means, And yeah, the sneak peeks really piss me off. I'm like, it's kind of like a downer after this whole arc. I feel like usually the season finales are amazing, and we get we at least get a fun 2-hour
Adventure.
episode. Right, exactly. But nothing I have read or seen about this finale seems exciting to me, except for the like the snowing and
Captain
killing
Snowing
and
Zelina.
exactly, that seems exciting. But the other side of the thing, oh my god, I seems horrible. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually,
Michelle? Yeah,
one
Ro?
thing I will say about those sneak peeks, Regina says it isn't fair. Let's think about that for a second. When Regina was crushing Graham's heart and he died in Emma's arms, was that fair? And when Zelina brought out the events that led to Neil's death and he died in Emma's arms, was that fair? No, I don't think it was. So Regina and Zelina have now lost the men they both love, and Emma has the man she loves back. That is fair. I don't care if I sound like a cold-hearted bastard. That is fair.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. I mean, when Regina cast the curse and Emma lost her family and had to be and had to be raised in really crappy foster homes, and then wound up on the street and then in jail for a crime that she didn't do because of her asshole ex-boyfriend. Was that fair? No, that wasn't fair. While Regina had a whole town to herself that she cursed, and also got to raise Emma's child because Emma couldn't raise the baby herself because she was in jail. Is that fair? Fuck no, that wasn't fair. So yeah, her having Hook back, that's fair.
Hmm.
I
Totally.
mean, it isn't fair. It's just like someone a toddler would say. Like when mom tells him, "Oh, you have to go to bed." It isn't fair because you get to stay up, have to go to bed. I mean, it's just so childish. Anyway,
Hmm.
Michelle, do we have another question?
Yes, we do. This one's also from Daniela. What are your thoughts on Selena and her redemption, and do you think it will continue into season 6?
What do you think about her redemption, Ro?
Zelina,
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't want her to lose her wickedness, her personality. But if she's on her best behavior, then, and if she just wants to spend time with the baby or help Regina, that's fine. I can
I
take her either way.
I liked her better when she was snarking in 5A than when she was like trying to get redeemed and lovesick in 5B. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
what do you guys think?
I
Rams?
like. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I really liked Zelina this season. I agree that she was more likable in 5A, but overall, I think they did a really good job with her character. I mean, when she gets a little emo, she is very annoying. So I feel like she's going to continue on the mend. Maybe she will be the one to help Regina next season, try to talk her down or something. She might return the favor, you know? I think that's what's going to happen.
Lisa?
I'd like to see a nice balance between her trying to turn that corner and be better, for the sake of her child, and get that relationship with Regina. But I also like her sass because unlike Regina, whose sass comes off as being just plain rude, with Zelina, she I like her sass because she calls people out on their shit. I know that we didn't like what she was doing and putting people through all this crap that she was putting them through. But in 5A, she really, really called people out on this shit, especially Regina. And then in 5B, I really liked the fact how, even though we knew Cor was trying to put a foot forward, she still called her out on her lies. That's one of the things about Zelena that I really like, is that she doesn't take shit from people, and she calls people out on their own garbage. She doesn't let them get away with nothing, because nobody ever let her get away with anything. So she takes that same stance. So I don't want her to lose that. I think that's one of her very strong characteristics. I hope she keeps that. But like I said, I will give her the most smidgenest of benefits of doubts, because with the way that they write villains in the show, it's so up and down. It can go either way. But I really do feel that this peace she made with her mother has helped her to put that hate and that anger aside. So I don't mind seeing her redeem herself, but I don't want it to be like overnight either. It's one thing for her to have redeemed herself in Regina's eyes, but we can already tell that nobody else there really trusts her. The only reason they tolerate her is for Regina's sake and for the sake of the baby. So she's really going to have to do some work where it concerns everyone else.
That's what I think that's why the show is sending her on this adventure with Snowing and Killian, because it's forcing her to work with people who don't really trust her, and that she's going to have this chance to prove that she's trustworthy. Now, whether or not that carries over into season 6 when her sister goes off the deep end remains to be seen.
Okay, someone else?
I just can't wait for the next Mommy and Me class.
Oh my God! Can you imagine Sleeping Beauty and Cinderella and Selena? Wow, that'd be amazing.
They should do that.
And Belle.
Yeah.
Awkward.
Awesome.
Awkward considering she turned Aurora into a monkey.
And kidnapped Neil.
Yeah, and kidnapped Neil, so that's like
Baby Snowflake.
I was trying to remember, what do you mean with kidnap me, Neil? Oh, you mean the baby?
Oh my God, I was confused too. I didn't understand that at all.
It's what Snow and Charming call him. I don't know.
Okay, let me be clear. No babies should be called Neil, because Neil is I don't mean an old man's name, but at least middle-aged. I mean, starting with 35, 40, okay, but a baby should not be called Neil.
Couldn't they have made it his middle name? Why is it his first name?
Yeah. Anyway, let's go to another question then.
Okay, this is the last one, and it's not really a spoiler question. It's more of just a general comment. But Stacy says that ever since season 2, she hasn't liked the interactions with Hook and Regina, but people want them to be friends since season 3 because they are so alike. But people don't see that Hook actually can't stand Regina at all and only tolerates her for Emma's sake, and Regina is nasty towards Hook. Plus, after the sneak peeks we've been getting, my distaste for a Hook Queen friendship has gone to a -1,000, especially since she said she wants to rip his throat out to Emma, who literally got him back just a day ago, and it's fucked up.
Yeah. Lisa, do you want to start with your last?
Yeah, it's definitely fucked up. Isn't that kind of rehashing what we were already talking about before?
A little bit. Yeah, I mean, basically, I don't like the idea of a Hook friendship, and I never have, so please make it stop.
I don't mind their snark, because they do really sass off each other well, but when you get the scenes, I don't see a friendship really between them. Like in that flashback, the end of season 4, where she was touching his arm, I was like, please stop. Stop. I don't do the queen. Okay. Maybe in some far off future, if she, finally finds her place in the world and really does fully redeem herself, I might be okay with them attempting to be friends. But yeah, I feel like he tolerates her for Emma's sake, and that's about it. He doesn't hate her, but he doesn't like her either. He just kind of she's an acquaintance, and that's about it.
I vote no to the friendship. Don't try it. Don't pretend it's true. Don't do it. No.
It's just they have. I like them the way they are because they tried to kill each other once, and they are on the same side, but they don't have to like each other because they stay true to that. And I wouldn't have it any other way.
Okay. Someone else an opinion on this? Michelle, did I ask you? I don't remember. Michelle, are you here?
Yes, you did, and I said, hell no.
Who has? Did I ask everyone? Rams, did I ask you?
Yes.
No, but I don't think I have anything to add. I agree with you guys. Yep.
Okay. So since that was the last question, do you guys have any comments on the episode? Did you generally like it?
I loved it. I loved everything. I loved Killian's adventure or quest with Arthur. I loved seeing Cruella and the Blind Witch back, and I kind of liked it that they left their fate open-ended. So we can just imagine further underworld adventures with Arthur and Cruella and all that. I mean, I do have a couple of complaints. I was really hoping that we would see Mila move on. I'm very disappointed that it didn't happen. I mean, we have a little bit of hope that the souls in the reverse seem to have changed their behavior now that Hades is gone, and Arthur is presumably going to help set things right. But I wanted Killian to know that Mila was okay before he moved on. So that's one. And Auntie M, she's another innocent soul, and even Gaston didn't deserve to be in the river. So I think I'm a little disappointed they didn't resolve it, but that's just a small part. I also hate the way that Robin was obliterated. But otherwise, I thought to me, it was my favorite episode of 5e. Yeah.
I think one of the things that made it great was no flashbacks. They should definitely do no flashback episodes more. So the flashbacks can become special again. They are just there when they're needed and not like something they have to do every episode. But do you guys have any other comments on the episode?
I definitely
I
agree
really-
about the no flashbacks. You can tell when an episode does not have flashbacks and sticks to the plot that it comes off so much better than when it's overburdened by unnecessary storylines that nobody wants to see. This is why I wish that they hadn't gone off on the other tangents they did in 5B and just stuck to the plot. It made this episode like a breath of fresh air. That we didn't have to worry about them doing flashbacks. It was just, straight plot. Storytelling was good. I agree this stuff with Robin was not handled well and definitely could have been done better. I also agree that I wish I could have seen some resolution for Mila and Gaston and everyone else who got thrown into the River of Souls, except for the people that genuinely deserve to be there. I wish that we could have seen them move on to a better place. But all in all, I thought the episode was written well, handled well. The emotion was really good. So, yeah, it was a good episode.
Ro, what were you saying?
I like the way that Killian broke the news to Arthur that he was dead. Denial, grief, anger. Can we just move on to acceptance? It's like, I don't have time for you, Shady. It's just. I mean, he wasn't fooling around. He had a job to do. He had to save his Swan, even if it meant that he moved on and she was safe. And that's what she gave him by coming down and giving him hope, showing him that she loved him enough to save him from Hades. And that's why he kept fighting for her, and that's why they're together now. Our ship is awesome.
Okay, so any comments left, or can we end this?
I have one.
Yes.
I'm still irked that they've never really explained why the hell Killian was being tortured to begin with. Because he was being tortured before Emma and the gang even got there, and they never explained why.
Must be Hades' hobby.
Yeah, just for fun. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know where he is, but he's not going to be happy when he gets out of there. You mean if he gets out of there? If is good.
Oh, and can we just say that Killian is essentially Hercules, and I wish they would have made that more clear that that's what they were going for, that Killian was Herc, because that's how it turned out, and I'm kind of annoyed that they didn't
He's
make it
Harry.
clearer.
Come on. Killian was Harry and Zeus was Dumbledore.
Oh, you know what? Now that we've seen who they cast for Zeus, and knowing that Hercules is Zeus' son, I was like, wow. I know that you're an immortal god, but wow, dude. Because you look like you two could be brothers instead of father and son. You were Zeus, the guy they cast to play Zeus, was so young compared to Greg German, who's in his 50s, and Eddie. Oh Jesus, what's his last name? Who played Poseidon in season 4 is in his 60s. So it's like, why does Zeus look like he's 21 or something? What the hell?
I think it's because he's on Olympus. And okay, here's another thing. Was I the only one who got the impression that Zeus doesn't do this for everybody? That Killian was like a special case?
Yeah, totally agree.
He is literally God's gift to women.
Oh. Oh.
And on that note, I think it's a perfect way to end the podcast.
I'm sorry, when the king of the gods himself endorses your ship, enough said, argument over.
Yep.
Okay, so I think it was a great podcast, and thank you everyone for listening. And we'll be back next week to discuss the finale, which, remember, is an hour earlier this week. God knows why. ABC makes decisions I don't understand. Anyway, thank you everyone for listening, and we'll be back next week for the finale. Bye.
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 Later.